Hey gang, I just wanted to go ahead and do a follow-up video to help you with your Gilgamesh, Adam and Eve, and Noah essay. Um, as of right now, you should have watched this past video about how to use Lucidchart to help you with your brainstorming and gathering evidence to help you write this paper. But I want to go back and revisit the prompt. And first off, the prompt is: one purpose of religious and mythological stories is to guide people through the trials of the living. How does the kind of guidance found in the Epic of Gilgamesh compare with that found in Genesis? And recently you guys have been using Lucidchart to go ahead and trace the trials that each one of these subjects have faced. Also, what normative principle did they apply to assist them in making the decision that they did? And if it was the wrong decision, what happens to them and what sort of principle should they have applied? And you guys are basically going to be writing a compare and a contrast sort of paper. Now there's many different ways to go ahead and write a compare and contrast sort of paper, but I feel that the one that you have particularly created using your Lucidchart this is going to help you out quite a bit. First off, if I go ahead and take a look at this document. Now, what we're going to be doing is a subject by subject type of paper, instead of going by principle by principle by principle. I just feel that the paper might flow for a lot of you a lot easier, and this particular type of compare and contrast paper might make a lot more sense to you. I think the main thing that I want you guys to realize is that you must utilize the terminology in class. Otherwise, it's just going to read like a simple type of summary of each particular paper, and that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for specific trials and what principles did the characters apply to the trial, and which principles should they have applied. So take a look at this outline that I gave you. First of all, in the introduction, you may want to go ahead and address the prompt about how these stories are guidance to the living. And make sure that you talk about Adam and Eve, Gilgamesh, and Noah in your introduction. Another thing, too, you may want to talk about the two main principles that we've looked at is God's will versus self-interest. Next, break it down subject by subject. Subject 1 plus the impression you want people to have on Adam and Eve. That would help you serve as your topic sentence. And then tell me about the trial that they faced, the principle applied, and what principle should they have applied. Then move on to the next one. Transition, Gilgamesh. Tell me about the trial. Tell me about the principle applied to the decision, and what should they have applied. Then move on to subject 3. Again, what impression you want people to have on subject 3, which should be, let me fix this really quick, which should be Noah, trial, principle applied to decision. Now, one thing I said, what principles should they apply to decision? Now remember, this does not really apply for Noah, because he pretty much understands what is the main principle that he should be applied to his particular trial. And I want you to be reflective of that in your paper. And then hence that will help us lead us to our conclusion, which tying everything together. Conclusion. Reflect how Adam and Eve and Gilgamesh all learn what Noah already knows. That is the most important thing. Okay? So here's some guidelines to look by. Let me go ahead and get into your online textbook really quick. A couple things to be living by. Compare and contrast writing examines the similarities and differences between two or more subjects. You guys are using 3 subjects: Adam and Eve, Gilgamesh, and Noah. You might, for example, compare and contrast 2 short stories, the main characters in the novel or the 2 movies. You're doing 3 stories. This is what a successful compare and contrast paper does. We're looking at this box right here. Clearly identify the subjects that are being compared and contrasted, okay, which you guys are going to be doing. Include specific relevant details. Remember, I'm not looking for whole summaries of the story. I'm looking for key parts of each story that reflect the principles that they apply to certain decisions, but however, what principles should they have applied? Hence, their will versus God's will. Follow a clear plan of organization dealing with the same features of both subjects under discussion, which I gave to you in my model compare and contrast outline. Next, use language and details appropriate to the audience. Now, I am your audience. Please make sure that you use the terminology that was discussed in your WSQ notes for your Ethics 101 notes. Next, use transition words and phrases to clarify similarities and differences. Please make sure that you do that. Use nice transition words. You can easily go ahead if you need to. If you don't have some that you can think of, by all means, go ahead, look up possible transition words on Google, and maybe choose some that are appropriate to use in your paper. I hope this helps.